Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League here on NASCAR Heat 4 for the Xbox One. Today we go to the first race of the round of 6, which means after these next 3 races, the final 4 will be decided. Here is the playoff grid coming into today to start this round of 6. We are P1 in the playoffs right now. 30 points to the good. Matt and Jay are the 2 drivers out, obviously both being teammates. We have a lot of JGR squad and Jay the affiliate there in this final 6, but so it's kind of like a JGR versus Hendrick Motorsports type deal. And today's race is at Richmond. I should mention stage 1 40 laps, stage 2 40 laps, stage 3 80 laps, and the checkered is 160, or I should say the checkered is when we hit lap 161 actually. But basically stage 1 ends when we hit lap 41, stage 2 ends when we hit lap 81, the race ends when we hit lap 161. We qualified P2 here in Richmond with Bryce here on pole. Really the goal here obviously is to go win this race and make it easy on us, so we can be locked into that final 4 now. As keep in mind, we have won so far 8 races this season, double the amount I've previously been able to win at most in a season. So we're trying to get win number 9 on the season. There's in turns 3. Matt slid up the track a little bit, nearly got into me, then I hit the wall on the exit actually of turns 4, which was very unfortunate there, but we certainly had a bit of a tight handling car in the short run I noticed, but on the long run it got really loose, so it was definitely going to be an interesting race I felt here as we went down now on lap 5 already, putting on the pressure actually on Bryce as we went down into turns 3, and we actually made a little bit of contact there into turn 3. We both kind of just came into each other, but we would take the lead out of turns 4. So after taking the lead here, though, we would start to drive away. There's actually hit the ball on a straightaway here on lap 11. But like I said, remember, stage 1 ends when we hit lap 41. So we were starting to just pull away a little bit to the 20 of Matt, who actually started to fall down just a little bit there compared to Bryce, who had taken second place back. Matt was down in 3rd. Then we had Eddie down in P4 as we went down into turns 1. King Outbreak, I just found out last name. His name is Eddie, so we'll keep that in mind, as well as the 88 car of combat is Connor. We'll try to remember that, but we come through already to lap 25, 16 to go here on stage 1, and actually started to save my tires a little bit here now because I noticed we could make it to the end of the stage without pitting, but a bunch of drivers came into the pit lane except for myself, the 18 of Bryce, and maybe a few others. You see the 24 of Eddie going past there to actually get his lap back, but we were just cruising to the end, and then Bryce actually would close up though here towards the final few laps of this first stage. So he decides he's going to put a little bit of a pressure on me and try to win stage 1, but we come right to the white flag now in the first stage. Bryce had turned it up. He was right there on my back bumper as we go down into turns 1. We actually touched the apron there, but we still get a pretty solid exit though out of turns 2 and get a comfortable gap there to the 18 of Bryce as we go down into turns 3. Just hoping the tires would make it, and sure enough it was at 4% on the right rear as we exit turns 4, so we will make it and come through to win stage 1 here in Richmond. So already in a great position to gain a bunch of points, and Andrew would round out the top 5, and we would get right back into the action here for the second stage. We would pit for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, of course, but I did not make any adjustments in the car. I probably should have at this point, but I decided to play it safe because we had just won the first stages. We would clear Bryce on the exit of turns 2 to keep the lead here down the back stretch. So now in control as we go down into turns 3, but I go a little bit wide there in turn 3, kind of like the beginning of this race in that first stage on the opening few laps. The car I could not get the car planted on the bottom down into turns 3, and sure enough now that opened the door for Bryce as we go down into turns 1, and I'm tight again through the center of the corner, and Bryce is going to take the lead on the exit of turns 2. We scraped the wall just a tiny bit, but we were still clear going down into turns 3, but once again I slow down and the car just goes straight. I could not get the car to turn down to the bottom here. So now Matt gets to the inside of me as we go down into turns 1, and then Andrew in the 9 was trying to get up in the mix as well here as we come through out of turns 2, and once again we're so tight I just put it straight in the wall, and now we lose second place to Matt, as well as we're going to drop down into P4 just behind Andrew here as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4, and once again so tight I hit the wall again, and sure enough that would allow Andrew to clear me. Now as we came through though to a few laps later on lap 49, Andrew had found his way up the inside of Matt. Bryce at this point, the 18, pulling away from all of us now as I decided we're going to follow Andrew here on the inside lane because it seemed like there was actually make a little bit of contact, that though Andrew seemed to be a little bit faster than the 20 at this point, so I decided to follow him as we exit turn 2, now looking to the inside of our JGR teammate of Matt now as we go down into turns 3, and actually I slide up the track and drive straight into the side of him by accident, but thankfully none of us get any issues out of that. So we would take P3 away from Matt and then set our sights on the 9 of Andrew. But it actually took me quite a while to get past the 9 of Andrew here, as I was certainly struggling to be able to find an opportunity to make my way past him as we came through out of turns 4. Now hitting lap 57 at this point. Now as we came through though on lap 59, this would be my opportunity right here out of turns 4. Andrew kind of goes up the track a little bit wide, and I stick my nose up the inside here with just 21 laps to go in the second stage. And we come through turns 1 and 2. We're going to be side by side down the backstretch here. For second place now as Bryce is just continuing to just love what he sees behind him. Now is on our screen, or on Andrew's screen, sorry, I actually hit him there. You can clearly tell I did not touch him on my screen, but unfortunately it's just kind of the way it works with the net coding. But either way, we would still go down into turns 1 and get clear of him, and now take over second place with just 20 to go here in stage 2. But I knew there really wasn't enough time to run down the 18 of Bryce. We were closing in on him though as the laps wound down. Here's a hit lap 69, nice at this point down into turns 1. Like I said, closing that gap to Bryce there as we come through out of turns 2, nearly getting into the wall down the back straightaway. It was down to 1.8 seconds at this point with just over 10 laps to go here in the second stage. So like I said, I knew I wasn't really going to get to him there. As you see, some drivers actually coming into the pit lane, like Jay, they kind of got trapped a lap down, if I'm not mistaken, there when they came into the pit lane in stage 1 when everybody, like myself and Bryce, stayed out. Now as we came through, heading down this backstretch once again, and then we came through now on lap 75, just 6 laps to go here in the second stage, and we had still closed in a tiny bit, I should say, to Bryce again. It was now down to 1.1 seconds here as we were approaching the final lap of the second stage, and the final few laps of the second stage was really when I was starting to close that gap to Bryce here, but obviously not enough time. But I was still giving it my all, hoping that maybe he's going to get really loose and have to collect the car, and we're going to be able to pounce on the opportunity. As we come out of turns 2 though, looking like that's not going to be the case now, as there is though less than a second between myself and Bryce here as we come through turns 3 and out of turns 4, but just not enough time there in the end of stage 2 to get to him. Bryce wins stage 2. We come through to get second place here in the second stage, so still can't complain. Andrew, I think, was in P3, but he actually spun out or something in the last lap, and I think he might have lost stage points now, as we would come back into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, and get right back into the action here for the start of the third and final stage. And I was caught sleeping on the restart, did not get a good one at all now as we go down into turns 1. I did make a wedge adjustment though on the pit stop. I put the wedge up by like 0.1 clicks. It was at like 49.5 or something, and I put it up to 49.6. Now as we go down into turns 3, we have Connor in the 88 of my inside. Keep in mind, he is one of the final 6 drivers, and so is the 9, of course, of Andrew just behind him, as Andrew thought about maybe making it 3 wide for a moment there as we went down into turns 1, but then he pulled out now as we come through turns 1 and out of turns 2. So great pull-out game there from the 9 as we go down this back straightaway. Bryce, though, still out in front as we go down into turns 3. Keep in mind, the race ends when we hit lap 161 as Bryce, though, gets into the wall, leading the race out of turns 4, and that's going to bring myself and Connor right into the mix now as we go down into turns 1 there. I don't get through the center of the corner great though, and that allows the 88 to get the edge. I mean, we nearly come together, but I hit the wall on the exit of turns 2 because I was tight again. And then Andrew gets to the inside of Connor. They make a little bit of contact. Then we have a lap car of Justin get into the mix as well as we come out of turns 4. The 88 and myself get into the wall, but thankfully we get into it less significantly, and that allows me to pass Connor as we went down into turns 1. Then we would now come to lap 89, get back to the inside of Justin, who I said was a lap down at this point as we go down into turns 1 and turns 2. Andrew was actually closing in a little bit there, it looked like, on the 18 of our teammate of Bryce, who would love to punch his ticket into the final 4 here tonight in Richmond as we come through turns 3, clearing the 1 car now on the exit of turns 4. Then we would run down Andrew in the 9 here on lap 92, and the car just seemed to be working a lot better. You remember how long it took me in stage 2 to pass Andrew? Well, this time we go down into turns 1 on lap 93, and we already have an opportunity to get past Andrew now as we exit turns 2 side by side with our former teammate here from earlier this season. If you remember, he did drive the 19 car for the majority of the season, but out of turns 4 we would clear Andrew for the second position there now as we would try to set our sights on the 18 of Bryce now within the final 70 laps or so here in this race as we come out of turn 2. So hoping that I would be able to run him down, and sure enough, we just seem to have a good chunk of speed at this point. We come to lap 107. We had pulled away from the 9 of Andrew. We had closed into the back of the 18 of Bryce. Surprisingly, no crash-caused cautions here tonight in Richmond so far. It was the only cautions we've had was for a stage break now as we go down into turns 3. And we've had a lot of green flag races recently here in Nitro, which has been awesome. awesome. I like green flag runs, but I do still like some restarts here to spice it up, but you never know what's going to happen. Now it's come through to lap 120. To my surprise, I couldn't really pass Bryce. It's come through out of turns 2. The tire icon had come on. I knew that we had to start thinking about making a pit stop very, very soon here. Now as it come through turns 3 and out of turns 4, slipping and sliding a little bit there. And now as Bryce gets loose, he hits the wall. We look to the inside of him here now with now 40 laps to go at this point as we go down into turns 1. So pretty much just like a stage 1 run at this point now as we come out of turns 2. I decide we're going to come into the pit lane. This time we know we can make it to the end as we go down into turn 3. Bryce is going to stay out another lap now as we're going to go spinning into the inside wall there, but we get extremely lucky, do a complete 360 and get so lucky right there because I was able to get the car collected right away. We would lose some time, of course. We had Andrew right on my back bumper here on the exit of the pit lane as we come through out of turns 2 now as he gets a great exit compared to myself as we go down towards turns 3. Bryce was also in the pit lane as he was just about to come out as well as we exit turns 4. Knowing that the car was going to be tight here on the short run, had to be ready for that. Now as you see, Bryce is exiting the pit lane as we go down into turns 1. He's actually going to pull right onto the track here, unlike what myself and Andrew didn't actually get into the back of him on the exit of turns 2. There as we go down this back straightaway down into turns 3. Andrew trying to make a move potentially on my inside. Sure enough, he might get there as we come out of turns 4, but thankfully he does not. Well, then I hit the outside wall, and that would allow Andrew to fight to my inside here as we go down into turns 1, knowing that I can't really make these mistakes at this point in the race now as I had to fight really hard here on the outside, knowing what's at stake at this point. Thankfully, we fend off Andrew at this point for second place and then get right back on the back there of the 18 of Bryce. We make contact there as I don't think he was aware that I was coming to the inside. Now as Andrew gets to my outside as we go down into turns 1 now, trying to make sure I can at least hold on to P2. I don't want to have to pass another car, and thankfully on the exit of turns 2 again, we do stay clear of the 9 of Andrew as we go down into turns 3 and then closing up again on the back of the 18 of Bryce. And sure enough, on lap 126, right on his back bumper, we look to the inside of Bryce now as we go down towards turns 3, trying to make the move for the lead here with just over 30 laps to go here in Richmond. And sure enough, we're going to be side by side for the front position on the exit of turns 4 down into turns 1 here with 34 laps to go here at Richmond. Bryce sends it in pretty deep into turns 1, but we're going to have a pretty solid exit compared to him. He's actually going to be able to fight back here down the back stretch as we go down into the corner, so he's certainly not going to give up quite easily now as we come through the center of the corner out of turns 4. He's still not giving it up. A great battle here side by side for the lead as we go down into turns 1 once again, but this time we might be able to get the position there as he's still on my right side, but we do get clear of the 18 of Bryce on the exit of turns 2, and after that we would actually stretch out the gap a little bit now as we come to lap 140, 21 laps to go at this point, hoping that it would stay green, of course, now as we came out of turns 2. And we also had enough fuel to make it to the end of this race, so I wasn't concerned about that. Tires, I wasn't concerned. But then Bryce started to gain some time on me here in the closing laps. A little bit over 15 laps to go. He had actually appeared back in my rear view mirror quite significantly there. As you can see him filling it up as we go down into turns 3. So definitely knowing that we're not in a safe zone by any means as he's right there ready to pounce. But we come through to just 10 laps to go now. He was still within range of striking distance, at least now, as we were closing in on the back of our teammate of Matt there, who was starting to struggle. He was struggling quite a bit in this race now as we go down on lap 154. We would be able to put him a lap down. We had actually had a pretty decent gap to Bryce now as he had fallen off quite a bit. I was falling off as well, but I was just able to manage it better, I guess, in this final run here as we come to just 3 laps to go, or approaching 2 laps to go there. As you see Jay up ahead, he's trying to stay on the lead lap. At this point though, it doesn't matter as long as we get to the white flag here in Richmond. We exit turns 4, and at this point I know we have enough of a gap on Bryce to where if I just don't screw it up here, then we will be able to pull off win number 9 on the season. And in the first race of the round of 6, we will be able to punch our ticket into the final 4 if we can just hang on for another lap and a half. It's been an incredible season so far for us with 8 wins on the season as we exit turns 4. A bunch of wins so far in the playoffs. We take the white flag here in Richmond. There you see Jay still up ahead as we go down into turns 1. Bryce hoping probably I was going to spin out or something at this point as we exit turns 2. The tire icon obviously on, but it wasn't going to be a factor now as we go down into turns 3 for the final time now as we come through out of turns 4. Jay's just going to pull off to the left, and for the 9th time this season we will win here in Richmond and lock ourselves in to the final 4 here. So now we will 100% be competing for a championship at Homestead, Miami in just, what, 3 weeks' time, I believe that is now. So just so happy that we were able to pull off the victory in the first race of this round. Obviously really important to just try and get a win right off the bat. Now, as we still have a chance to actually, I think, break the record for the most wins in a season. I think Andrew holds that with 11, and now we have 9, and there's 3 races left. If we can win 3 races, we'll hit 12, which would break the record, and hopefully we can maybe at least tie it. That would be kind of cool. But now, really just focusing on winning the next 2 races, and then going to Miami and winning as well, and hopefully getting a championship. But yeah, definitely happy with the result. Obviously, now as you guys are going to see the updated playoff grid as we get ready to end this video. So we are 47 points to the good, but that does not matter. We are locked in with the victory. Andrew 23 to the good. Bryce 15 to the good. Connor is 10 to the good, and Matt and Jay, the 2 drivers on the outside looking in. Matt is 10 points out. Jay is 22 points out. So that will do it though for this episode of the Nitro Racing League. Thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch this one. In the next one, we go to New Hampshire. So I'll see you guys for that one. So thank you all for watching, and have yourselves a great day, everybody.